Hello and welcome back to another episode of Fogdog and Basten. I feel like I always say this, but it's been a really weird few weeks. It's definitely been a good couple of weeks since the last episode, but we're back with a bang. How you going, Basten?
Good. I'm here with my potato friend, and we're here to talk about this outdoor season kind of as a whole, because it just went by so fast, but
yeah, it really has. We're definitely going to talk more about this in a few minutes, so stick around. But pretty much, I have raced twice this outdoor season, 2 different meets, and that is my outdoor season done. We're going to go into a bit more detail, but if you want to find out, stick around. And in a few minutes, we'll kind of go into a bit more detail about why my NCAA season is done and potentially my NCAA career. So stick around for that. We'll explain in a bit more detail soon. But yeah, how are you feeling this weekend, Basten? Just quickly, going into conference champs, we'll talk about that more, but feeling good, training going well?
Yeah, training is going well. I'm feeling good. The last 2 or 3 days have been just so rough because it went from being 50 degrees to being 95 and humid the last 3 days. And it's been brutal just trying to adjust as quickly as possible, because you're panicking a little bit because you're in your head, I have to get this adjustment done before the race starts.
Yeah.
And it's almost just impossible to, and it's something that probably the whole field's going to be dealing with. But
yeah,
man, it's just it's a little bit of a confidence deflator when you're doing less impressive workouts than you want because of the heat. So yeah, that's just something we're all mentally dealing with right now. But besides that, training's been going well. I'm not injured, not in the hospital. So that's good.
That makes one of us. That's good to hear. It is pretty hectic, the heat right now. I'm not even running right now. More to come on that soon. And yeah, walking to a team meeting today, it's just you get absolutely smashed as soon as you walk outside. It's just a wall of hot air at the moment. So hopefully that will calm down a little bit over the next few days. But anyway, let's kind of dig straight into it. Brian Clay, probably 3 weeks ago, maybe even 4 weeks ago now. We headed off to California. Brian Clay, historically known as being a pretty good opportunity to run a fast 1500. Talk us through it, Basten. What were the goals going in?
Well, the goal number one is just the same goal that I'm pretty sure every athlete has their first meet of the year. It's just, hey, let's just get that regional qualifier out of the way so that we can just have kind of a stress-free outdoor season, not have to worry about that kind of stuff. And for those of you that don't know, a regional qualifier is top 48 in both the West and the Eastern divisions of the NCAA. So Des Moines, Iowa, Drake is considered West. It's kind of one of those border states, but we're considered in the West side of the NCAA, which is kind of unfortunate. It's a little bit harder, but both Fogg and I went to Brian Clay. We got that job done. And then I was kind of hoping that, hey, maybe if it's a great day, I can get a US trials qualifier, but obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, what was your goals going into it?
Yeah, pretty similar, I think. Running a regional qualifier, I thought would be kind of worst case scenario out of that day. The NCAA is so strong now that it's probably going to take 342 to qualify. It's already down at 342 mid, I think, for number 48. Obviously, a few people do scratch and it goes down to maybe number 50, 55, something like that. But it is going to be around 342. So I knew that pretty much worst case scenario, even if we didn't run well, didn't feel good, 342 is in the wheelhouse now. We know how fit we are. We know how quick we can run, and 342 would be, I think, a pretty average day. So I was fairly confident we would achieve that. But it's always nice to, tick that off. And it's not an easy task. It's something you have to do if you want to be running at regionals and nationals. Obviously, you have to get that mark. So definitely that was a big goal. I knew in saying that we were both capable of running quite a bit quicker. I wanted to run something like 335, 336. And I hate saying that because obviously, for anyone who knows, neither of us ran 335 or 336. But I think we gave ourselves during the race as good of a chance as we kind of could have done.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did.
yeah. I had a real crack, and sometimes it's the way it goes. But we definitely had a bit of a weird lead up to that race. For anyone who saw the YouTube video on my channel, you probably already know all about this, but basically we were in the hotel all day. The meet was getting delayed. We thought it was going to be really delayed. We left the hotel pretty late, thinking we had about an hour and a half to 2 hour delay. And then we turn up at the track with at least kind of an hour to chill before we had to warm up. And on the way there, we found out that it was quite a different story. And we had to warm up immediately after getting out the car, just after we kind of had our final meal that we'd usually have a few hours out from racing. So
yeah,
how was that, Bastian? Bit of a weird one.
That was miserable. And I hate to make excuses after having bad days, because that's just any runner can make an excuse after a bad day. But man, I already have pretty bad stomach problems. That's probably my biggest fault as an athlete. And so eating dinner really, an hour before my race was just an absolute nightmare. I remember jogging in the warm up right after we got out of the car, which is 10 minutes after I'd eaten a couple peanut butter sandwiches, oatmeal, granola bars, bananas, etc. Just trying to, I guess, run it out of your system and just not really think about it, but it just sits there like a rock. And it was to the point where after the warm up, I tried to go into the porta potty and just get it all out the hard way.
Yeah.
But
either way.
Yeah. But it just didn't work out for me. So, I would definitely say that affected me physically, but it really affected me mentally as well. It was just something that was bothering me the whole warm up, bothering me during the race. And it really got to my head. But, what was the worst part about that for you? Because was it the eating? Was it the mental aspect?
It honestly, I would say I don't have a perfect stomach. Sometimes I do have problems, but I wouldn't say I have them quite to the level you do most of the time. And I think more of that for me was mental, kind of getting out the car. I love being able to get to a meet, chill out, put the legs up for a bit, maybe do a few stretches, just walk around a bit before actually warming up. And usually we warm up 55 minutes to an hour before. And we literally drove 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes from the hotel. We got there and we had 50 minutes before our race. So already our warm down has been cut down from what it would normally be. And we've literally just got out the car as well. So I think honestly, during warm up, during the race, I actually ended up feeling pretty good, but just the whole mental thing, I struggled with a little bit. And I think it was kind of a good way of practicing, not ideal lead up to a meet. I can honestly say I've never had anything as stressful as that before. And when you're going to a big meet like that, you want to have everything going perfectly. You want to make sure you're giving yourself the best chance you can to run fast. And when that was happening, it feels like a bad dream. Those dreams where either you can't run or you're naked at work, or it just felt like a bad dream. Just everything wasn't going right. We turned up, we had to immediately warm up, but throughout the course of the warm up, when I was feeling decent, I kind of talked myself into it a bit more. And when the race actually started, I guess we can kind of go through the actual race a little bit for anyone who didn't see it. I tucked in maybe fifth-ish, behind, basically right behind John Davis and the NAU boys. So, and the two paces up the front as well. So, as soon as I was tucked in right behind Nico Young, I think. And I was actually all right, I feel pretty decent here, to be honest. I went through 800, probably 155 high, maybe 156 low. It was quick. And at 800, from 800 round to the K, I moved up past Nico Young, Drew Bosley, and John Davis, who they'd all slightly dropped off the pacer, and John Davis. And Abdi Hamid. No, yeah, they'd all dropped off Abdi. So I moved up, and I was moving up and I was feeling great. And then we came to the bell and I was like, oh my God, I don't feel so good anymore. 300s go. Yeah. From there, it went pretty pear-shaped. And with 100s go coming into the home straight, I was still in second. Abdi had broken away a little bit, but I was still in second, and I ended up coming seventh in the heat, I think. John Davis came around me with 90 meters to go, and he ended up running 336 high. I was 338.1. So that last 100, 150 was not ideal, but I'm glad that I gave myself a real chance to go quick. Just for the future, I need to maybe be a little bit more conservative or learn to, not be an absolute vegetable with 100 to go, because that last 100 must have been pretty slow, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
What about you? Usual tactics?
Yeah, I was out in dead last. I was planning on going out in like the middle of the pack to like try something new during that race, but with all the hectic crap that was going on like beforehand and stuff, I was like, you know what? Just have an okay day. Like, I'm gonna get out in last. Just do what I always do the routine, get in last with the lap to go, just see how far I can move up. And that race probably stringed out a little bit more than I would have liked it to. And I was a little bit in my head too much, probably the whole entire time. So with the laps to go, I was still in last, but I kicked my way up to 8th. I finished 1 second behind him. Fogg's being pretty modest. He got the new school record that day, running 338.1.
Took it off myself.
Yeah, which is, it's really good, but again, it's not what either one of us really wanted. Like, he ran 338, I ran 339. And like, we knew in the back of our head that would be the best opportunity we really had all year to like run a trials time, like, which is a trials time is below 337. But yeah, that was kind of our big chance this whole year to run a really, really quick time, because for the rest of the year, you're kind of just focusing on place. Like, Drake Relays is a good meet to win. And then conference is a good meet to win. Regionals is a good meet to win.
Yeah.
Nationals is a good meet to win. So like, yeah, this is just a big day to really focus on time. And neither one of us really got it, but we kind of got it. We got like the base goal, and that we made regionals, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. It could have been worse, but we both knew as soon as we were done, like, there was so much more there. And yeah. Hopefully at some point we'll realize that and, run something pretty quick. But as Basten was saying, that's kind of like the one really good chance that we felt like we had. In saying that, 2 weeks after that, which is what we'll move on to now, our big home meet, Drake Relays, hasn't kind of been on properly since before COVID. It happened last year, but it was kind of like weird, not a big crowd. People had to wear masks, stuff like that. So it was good to have it back. It was our first relays really at Drake. First and last for me, potentially, well, probably not last for Basten. But yeah. But yeah, so we had this meet at home and we both ran the 1500 again. Decent field, decent pacing plan. And when it came to it, it ended up being like a pretty windy night. That I'll let you speak on it. I'd say it went pretty well for you. It was a solid day.
Yeah, it did go really well for me. Like, I raced it really well.
Yeah.
I think for the conditions that were happening that day, and just for like basically for everything leading up to it, like, there were like 20-mile-an-hour winds that day, and the pacer really didn't go out that fast. So like for that situation, I think I ran that race perfectly. Like, that was as good as I could have possibly ran it. Like, it's weird because I ran 339 at Drake Relays and I ran 339 at Brian Clay. I ran the exact same time.
You were 0.03 apart, I think.
Yeah.
339.08 at Brian Clay and 339.11 at Relays.
So I literally ran pretty much the exact same time. And like, I couldn't have more opposite emotions with it. Like, I was so pissed about Brian Clay and I was so happy about Relays.
Yeah.
And it's just because like, conditions allow different times and different days. And Drake Relays was just one of those days where it was going to be harder to run fast. So we kind of knew that going in after like everything that kind of happened. But at the end of the day, with the lap to go, I focused on getting the win and I got it. So that was awesome. And then, yeah, kind of next day, the DMR. How did you feel during that?
Yeah. Pretty tired. Like, I had a real crack. I ended up coming 4th in the 1500. Yeah, I don't know. Just one of those days. I ran 341 for 4th, which is like, it could be worse, but it wasn't ideal. Yeah, I don't know. But then for the DMR, I was pretty tired. I always sleep terribly after racing. So that was no different. I was up like reasonably late And yeah, I just couldn't really sleep. So coming back to the DMR, I ran the 1200 leg. We had a sprinter on the 400. Paul, our teammate, he ran the 800, then Basten closed with the mile.
Rounded us in, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What did we end up? 10th, maybe? Something like that.
It was brutal.
I actually ended up having a solid run, though. It was so windy again. So windy in the home straight. So I just thought, right, I'm going to tuck in this time. Like, I'm just going to relax and tuck in for at least kind of the first 500, 600, 700. And I ended up tucking in until 700 and then 500 out, obviously 1200 legs. So at 700, you've got a home straight and a lap to go. I really made a pretty strong move and yeah, just went for it and held the lead into the second leg. Caleb, the sprinter, had a really solid leg. He split like 47 high for his 400s.
Yeah, he did well. Yeah.
Per 155, I think. And then big PB for you in the 1600.
Huge. Yeah. 409.9, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Which is massive for me. No,
yeah.
That's about what? Equivalent to 12 seconds slower than I ran the previous day in the 1500.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe more.
Yeah. So obviously not good at all, but just the way I was at, by the time I got the baton, I was in like 5th or 6th place. And I tried to make a lot of moves early to kind of like come back to have like some kind of miracle, and making moves into the wind for those of you guys that know running. And even for those of you guys that don't, trying to pass people when you're going against like 20-mile-an-hour winds, like that takes a lot out of your legs. And then with a lap to go, you usually pay the price for that. And boy, I sure did.
Yeah. But I mean, you definitely did pay the price for it. But like at the end of the day, that's a DMR. It would have been cool to like win it at Drake Relays, but obviously like it isn't the be all and end all. The plan was, we'll do that. And then we've got conference, obviously this weekend. Then regionals, like there's kind of bigger fish to fry, I guess. So, even though it would have been nice to have won that DMR, like no one really cared that much. So on to the next one, as they say. So yeah, kind of weird after that. The next one might not be for some time for me. Hopefully I'll come back for like the European season, but basically touched on it earlier. Following Drake Relays, we kind of had a few days to chill out. Like we had one day off, just the Sunday, and then we were back running Monday. We had a workout Tuesday. Really solid workout, actually. We went indoor because it was cold and really windy. Just standard Des Moines. Chilly, very windy. So we went indoor for this workout. I was already feeling a little bit strange, but I thought I'd, have a crack at doing a workout, and that's what we did. 12 by 800 on a 1 minute recovery on our indoor track. In what were we, 217, 218 average? Just like cruise intervals. Jay, our coach, absolutely loves them. It's a good way of getting in some good volume. That's 6 miles of work, like 9.6K running 218 per 800, just short recovery. So I got through that. And then, the next day I kind of started to get a really sore stomach. So on Wednesday night, I thought, it would just be a bit of a stomach ache. It would be gone by Thursday morning. Thursday morning came around, wasn't gone. So throughout Thursday, I was kind of like, it'll hang around maybe another few hours. And, by tonight, as in by Thursday night, it'll be gone. It wasn't. It hung around. I didn't eat anything from Wednesday night until Thursday night, nothing at all. I just didn't feel hungry. And I ended up getting like a Jimmy John's sandwich. And I ate one Jimmy John's sandwich Thursday night thinking, this will make me feel better. I'll be good by Friday morning. Friday morning came around. Sorry to drag this out. And I still didn't feel good. Really not good, actually. And Jay, our coach, had asked kind of, where's the pain? And I pointed down to like the lower right area of my stomach. And he was like, that's not ideal. It could be your appendix. And I kind of brushed it off and just thought there's no way, like it won't be my appendix. Those things just don't happen.
Especially like training every day. Like, it's got to be something running related.
Exactly.
Or like,
it won't be my appendix basically. So Friday morning, Jay, he asked how I was going and I was like, yeah, not good. So I went and saw our trainer. He had a little feel around and he was like, yeah, you should probably go and see the doctor. So I went to our student health center and they did a few tests and kind of felt around and they were like, you should probably go to the hospital and just get a scan, get a blood test and just see, rule out it being the appendix basically. So I was like, oh, I'll go and get it done just to rule it out. Went to the hospital that day, did a blood test, did a scan, and yeah, it was my appendix. So, and it hadn't burst, but it was like pretty bad, pretty inflamed. And they were like, we've got to do surgery straight away. So, yeah, that day I went from like thinking, oh, I'll go and see the trainer to like having surgery, within the space of a few hours and stayed in hospital that night. Was actually back home the next day, like pretty okay, like walking around is still uncomfortable, and that's now 6 days ago that I had my surgery, but I'm able to move around a little bit. I can't run for a little bit longer, hopefully not too much longer, but I'm able to walk around now without too much discomfort. But yeah, kind of hectic times, and yeah, I no longer have an appendix. Fun times. How have you been, Basten? Any drama going on with your life?
Well, the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. So
wow.
Watching a lot of hockey.
Stanley Cup. Oh, wow. Yeah, you've really got into ice hockey, haven't you?
Yeah, kind of. We're repping the Wild jersey tonight.
Nice.
Big game 6, down 3-2.
What team is that?
This is the Wild. Yeah.
Iowa Wild?
Minnesota Wild.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
My home state,
Yeah, very nice. That's cool. Fingers crossed for the Wild then. So yeah, with my appendix, I'm definitely done for the season for the NCAA. Kind of like weighing it up now. Hopefully I won't be coming back to the NCAA. I'm hoping that I've, done decently enough in the NCAA to like hopefully try and go pro in America. I will be going back to Europe for the summer. That's like locked in. I'm going back to England for the summer. So if anyone's in England wants to head for a run, I might be a little bit slow for the first few weeks, but I'll definitely be up for it. But then hopefully after the summer, maybe in August, September, October, around then, hopefully I'll be coming back over to America. It's all very up in the air right now. And I do still have eligibility to come back and compete in the NCAA, but I graduate from college this week and I'd have to be doing classes again. So yeah, I don't know. If I have other options, I think I want to be done with the NCAA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. We hate having excuses, but I just feel like this year has not gone my way. But
oh man,
having this happen now, especially after, being pretty ill before indoor, it's the way it goes with running. But yeah, that's kind of my little story. And I'll be back from it, but maybe not for a little while. Anyway, this weekend we have conference, Basten, 1500 heat tomorrow. Talk us through it. Big meet.
Huge. Yeah. Huge. This is a really important one.
Nervous?
I'm terrified. Yeah. Jay actually took me into his office earlier and Jay like sat me down and was like, how are you feeling mentally about this?
About conference?
Yeah. And I was like, man, how am I supposed to be feeling?
Yeah.
It's just another race.
Feeling terrified. Yeah.
The least important of the two that I have coming up.
Yeah. So for sure.
Yeah. Especially like tomorrow is just the prelim. So there's 12 guys, I think,
that make the final or in your heat.
I think both.
Okay. Yeah.
I think 12 that earn my heat, 12 that make the final.
2 heats probably.
Yeah. Yep. 2 heats of 12 guys. So I think there's 24 total, or at least around there. And really all I have to do is essentially place in the top half. And I go into this conference meet with the fastest seed time and
by probably
like 15
seconds. Oh, right. Okay. 3, but then probably another 10 to the next one. Genuinely.
Yeah. It's
not to disrespect anyone, there are some strong runners, but the 1500, you should be all right to get.
I'm a pretty heavy favorite in this prelim. So hopefully I mean, I should be able to win it, but if I don't win it, hopefully I'll be able to get top 5 and just get myself a spot into that final. And then 2 days later, so tomorrow is Friday. Yeah. So Friday I'll run the prelim, and then on Sunday, so I'll get a day off. Then on Sunday I'll come back and race the final. So yeah, kind of the goal just going into conference is just to get the win while using as little energy as possible. And even though it sounds like, oh, he can get the win without using all of his energy. No, it's just more about like conserving as much energy for the big postseason races coming up, like regionals, regional final, and then hopefully nationals and the national final. So yeah, I'm just ready to get out there, try to get a win. And yeah. Will you be filming out there?
Hopefully, there will be a video coming on the Fogdog exclusive.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. If you don't know what that is, that's my YouTube channel. Go and have a look. But that's the plan. I have been asked to volunteer actually tomorrow night, so we'll see if I can kind of work the camera while I'm volunteering. But I just want to say you should be a heavy favorite. You are a heavy favorite for this 1500. But I do have to mention, historically, you at conference, other than your cross country title, I think you've got a bit of a monkey on your back about running well at outdoor conference. Indoor as well, technically, after that mile. But I think this one should be the one where you break that curse.
I think I've got to go down as like the best worst runner ever in our conference.
Yeah,
like
genuinely.
I always go into conference every year, ranked top 3, most of the time projected to win, get into the race and place 10th or place 12th or place 11th. So hopefully this time I can crack the top 8, score a point for Drake.
Yes.
And maybe if we're lucky, secure the win.
Yeah. that was the one that stands out is the 5K last year, but that was a 5K. So it's like, it's a little bit different. I hope you'll have the wheels over a 1500. But no, that should be good. And then do you want to briefly touch on regionals and kind of what the plan is going into that?
Yeah. First of all, like we don't quite find out who is going to race at regionals yet. So like on the list, there will be 48 guys that make it. But like Fogg was saying earlier, there will be guys that scratch, meaning they don't want to run the 1500 due to them either qualifying in other events, being injured, having surgery, or like just any other reason why they wouldn't want to run that particular event. So usually there will be a bunch of guys that decide not to do it in favor of something else. So kind of like once we find out who those scratches are and then what the heats look like when they divide the heats into regionals, I'll kind of just like devise a plan based on who I'm racing against and what's really going on. But essentially the goal of regionals is just to get by every round. And so it's the same as this heat at conference. You just got to place in the top half of everything you get in. Yeah. And that's kind of just the focus for the rest of the season, really.
Yeah. Brilliant. That'll be good. I don't know for sure what your plan will be, but I think I've got a pretty good idea. Based on your history with racing, but who knows? You might, tuck in somewhere middle pack and be a little bit higher up, and then kick through to get through the rounds. But looking forward to watching. Obviously, I won't be there racing, but
you might be there.
Maybe there is talk of me going to watch and potentially film and just hang out at regionals because why not? One last hurrah before
I'm encouraging it.
Yeah,
I think
we'll see. Hopefully, I would love to do that, but we'll
be my roommate.
We'll see what happens with that. That would be very, very good fun there. All right, with that, I think we've kind of covered most of what we planned on talking about. You got anything else, Basten? Or
no? I think we'll probably come back with another episode after conference. Just probably like a week or so after conference, like once the regional stuff is released, once we see who I'm racing against in the first round and just kind of everything to do with regionals and nationals and stuff. We'll probably have another pod, just talk about everything, not only about what I'm doing, but about what some of the other athletes are doing, like some big names. Who knows? We'll see if Yard Nagus qualifies this weekend.
One that is really interesting, actually, that you bring that up. That's a huge point. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. He's not qualified yet in the 1500. Yared Nuguse, for anyone who doesn't know his name, he qualified for the Olympics for the US last year, ran 3:34 at conference solo last year.
Placed second in the NCAA to Cole Hawker, who is the best collegiate athlete of all time.
Yeah. And he currently doesn't have a regional qualifier in the 1500. He did run 3:39 at the Sound Running Meet in California like last week, but it didn't count for NCAA requirements, I guess. So he's now listed to run the 5K at conference. So who knows what's going on with him?
So he's officially out of 1500.
Technically, yeah, unless they do a last minute little switcheroo, but I don't really see that happening. So that's kind of a mad one.
Good for me.
Very, very. I mean, it opens it up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because when he's in his best form, he's very hard to beat, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be cool. After conference, we'll talk about how conference went for Basten, and then have a look at some of the scratches. I know one for sure, sitting right here. Scratching out the 1500.
You never know. You never know.
You know what would be funny? If the final person in for regionals, if I hadn't scratched, if I was there, they would be out. But if they came through, make it through regionals, and then win nationals, I'll be claiming a little bit of that national title. Yeah. Could you imagine that?
That'd be kind of crazy.
Like number 55 or something.
The
like
Cinderella
a 342
story.
guy. Yeah, that would be sick.
Hey, I was 53 last year.
Yeah. 53 in the West, and then goes through, qualifies through regionals, makes nationals, then makes national final.
Stuff like that happens every year, so you never know.
Who knows? But, yeah. Fairy tale ending. But yeah, sweet. I think that's it. So stay tuned. We'll be back after conference talking about how conference went and what's going on with regionals. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. And I guess we'll see you, or you'll see us in the next one.
Perfect.
Thank you.